There are only 3 real ways to save more money every month. You either cut your expenses, you optimize the expenses you already have, or you increase how much money you make. And therefore, among all the possible tips and ways you can find to save more money, in this video we'll talk about the 5 most powerful ones and how they can make anyone save an extra $500 per month in a very realistic way. And know that none of this content is financial advice but educational only. Alright, let's break it down. For almost everyone, housing is the biggest expense they have. Not groceries, not gas or subscriptions, housing. And unless you live with your parents or in any form of free housing, it probably is the case for you as well. Rent alone can easily take up a third or even half of someone's monthly income. And when that one expense is too high, it creates pressure everywhere else. Saving feels impossible. Emergencies become stressful, and even small unexpected costs feel overwhelming. In the United States, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment usually falls somewhere between $1,200 to $2,000 per month, depending on the city. In many European cities, it's not much better, often around 800 to 1,400 euros for a modest place. Living alone has become the default goal for many people, but financially it's one of the most expensive choices you can make. And in today's economy, living alone is a luxury. It doesn't mean it's bad if you're living alone, but you probably know very well how much it eats up of your income. And therefore, the first financial tip is to share rent. Meaning you take that same apartment and split it with just one other person, the cost instantly drops in half. A $1,400 rent becomes $700 for each. Add a third person, and suddenly you're paying closer to $450 or $500 per month. That single decision can free up $600, $800, even $1,000 every month, depending on where you live. And it doesn't stop at rent. Utilities drop too. Electricity, heating, water, internet, all of it gets divided. Even things like cleaning supplies, furniture, and household basics cost less per person when shared. And therefore, sharing rent alone can save more than $1,000 a month for a lot of people. If you're an adult and living with people or your parents, you're already following that tip and saving lots of money. Obviously, this doesn't need to be a permanent move. Anyone can do this for some time. Save some money, invest it smartly, and going back to live alone when the financial situation levels up. Now, cars are one of the sneakiest ways money leaves your life. Not all at once, but constantly. There's the monthly payment, then insurance, then fuel, then maintenance, then the repairs you didn't plan for. And what makes it worse is that cars feel personal. People get attached to them, especially men. These gadgets become part of identity. But financially speaking, a car is just a tool. And if that tool is costing too much, it's working against you. Switching to a cheaper car can immediately reduce multiple expenses at the same time. When you sell a more expensive vehicle and buy something more affordable, you often lower your monthly payment or eliminate it entirely. Insurance usually becomes cheaper. Fuel costs often drop. Repairs and parts tend to be less expensive. And so, in many cases, people actually free up cash during the process. They sell their current car, pay off what they owe, and still have money left over after buying a cheaper one. That money can go straight into savings, investments, debt repayment, or even an emergency fund. This isn't about driving something unsafe or unreliable. It's about choosing something practical instead of impressive and expensive. Something that gets you from point A to point B without quietly draining your future. If you don't save directly $500 per month through the combination of cheaper insurance, maintenance, and fuel costs, the benefits made when selling the car and buying a cheaper one fill the gap automatically for months and sometimes years. Finally, remember that cars don't care about your financial goals. You have to make them care by choosing wisely. Now, sometimes cutting expenses can only take you so far, especially if you're already living pretty lean. That's where earning more money comes in. And this doesn't mean you need a massive career change or a high-paying corporate role. Often it just means adding a simple, flexible income stream on the side. There are plenty of jobs that are relatively easy to start and don't require years of experience or long hiring processes. Driving, delivering, freelancing, online work, weekend shifts, short-term gigs. The exact job matters less than the result. The average Uber driver, for example, reports on average $20 per hour. Make it 7 hours per week as a side hustle, and you got yourself more than $500 per month before expenses and taxes. Make it 10 hours or more and you understand the math. This is just a simple example. And the important thing to remember is that this doesn't have to be forever. Side jobs are tools, not life sentences. You can do them for 6 months or a year, even forever if you end up liking it. It just has to be long enough to build momentum and create long-lasting changes. A lot of people wait for the perfect opportunity. But money problems don't usually need perfect solutions. They actually need imperfect action. Short-term effort can lead to long-term stability. Now, the next tip is the least exciting financial tip on the list, but it works every single time. Cutting subscriptions and membership, as well as optimizing bills and groceries. The combination of these 4 expenses can save a lot of people hundreds of dollars per month. Subscriptions are easy to forget. Streaming services, apps, memberships, digital tools, delivery perks, they're small on their own, but together they can quietly cost hundreds of dollars per month. When you actually write them all down, most people are shocked by how much they're paying for things they barely use. Then there are recurring bills, phone plans with features you don't need, internet speeds that are higher than necessary, insurance policies that haven't been reviewed in years. These things don't feel optional, but many of them are negotiable or adjustable. Groceries are another big one. Shopping without a plan, buying convenience food, or letting groceries go to waste adds up faster than people realize. A little planning goes a long way here. This isn't about deprivation, it's about alignment. Spending money on things that actually improve your life and cutting the rest. Individually, these changes feel small, but combined, they create a system that supports saving instead of fighting it. Now here's the hardest tip, but often the most powerful: relocating. Now, relocating isn't possible for everyone. Family responsibilities, work limitations, legal barriers, all of that matters. But if relocating is an option for you, the financial impact can be enormous. Moving to a lower-cost city, region, or even country can immediately reduce rent, groceries, transportation, and everyday expenses. And when you combine that with shared housing, lower transportation costs, optimized spending, and extra income, the results compound fast. For some people, this is the difference between saving nothing and saving $1,000 or more per month. But sometimes the environment you're in makes saving nearly impossible. Changing that environment can unlock progress that discipline alone never could. And again, the move doesn't have to be permanent or taken randomly without long weeks or months of thinking. But it exists. Saving money is almost always possible. What makes it hard isn't math, it's just the mindset. The solutions work. They just require us to do things that feel uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unfamiliar. But thankfully, the discomfort often fades over time. And most of the time, nothing forces anyone to do everything at once. Even 1 or 2 of these changes can shift anyone's money situation in a very meaningful way. The hardest step often is just to start. After that, it often becomes a piece of cake for many people. If you liked this video and found it helpful, click on one of those showing on your screen right now. I'll see you there.